shit.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Sideline Summit. I'm Antonio Perez, joined as always by Danny Code, DC, UPenn's finest. Chris could not make it today because he was in Oklahoma City to watch the Thunder, so it is a two-man weave for tonight. But of course, you'll get Chris back on Sunday or Monday, whenever we're recording. But we got a great episode for you guys. As always, we're going to be talking about college football playoff. Round 2 is wrapping up as we speak. With Notre Dame, Georgia. And then we're going to talk about all the Week 18 NFL games that have some playoff implications and predict who we think are going to be winning. And, of course, wrapping it up with the hots and locks. Do not worry. Chris has forwarded his hots and locks, so he will not be left out, of course. Before we get started, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, turn on those post notifications so you don't miss a single upload. And then if you're listening to this on audio platforms, leave a like, follow the show, download the episode if you enjoy it. All those good things that help push us through the algorithm. But I can swing it to Danny for Summits and Plummets to start, as always.
Yeah, beautiful. I'll start with my summit. So it's going to be my summit's going to be the fact that PT is on the brink of being done, year-long process. So for whatever reason, my strength numbers are like not viable today. Like I don't know if I didn't eat enough or didn't sleep enough, whatever it is. Strength was like down on both sides, like unilaterally. So don't know why, but jump tests, passed them, vertical, agility, all that stuff. So 3 weeks go back, test it out. Should be good to go for our spring football league that we're going to be doing.
So do they separate it by cleared for lifting and cleared for running? Or is it just like once you're cleared, you're good for everything, running, contact?
This would be like return to sport testing. So like this would be like
okay, so like you've returned to being like a average Joe lifter like a while ago, which I can vouch for. But
yeah, I mean,
but yeah, we're almost there.
Way back. Yeah, so we're good.
We are almost there.
Yeah, pretty hype. So that's definitely a summit.
Definitely.
Long time coming, almost back, and call it a summit, call it a plummet. I'm a plummet. The weather of cold has returned.
Bro, so I'm usually, climate change person, like where, I'm glad it's cold. Wind, though?
It's bad.
Nah, lost me, bro. The wind sucks. Definitely a plummet. It's pretty brutal. I don't like having to, walk outside 15 minutes early before I have to leave to warm my car up. Because my car definitely warms up pretty slow, if you know my car. But, nah, dude, you're definitely right. I guess I can start with my summit. Man, I don't even know what. Okay. Let's start with a plummet, actually, which I understand. It's heartbreaking, though. Saquon Barkley will not be getting the single season rushing record. And it burns so bad, but I get it. And what I really don't like is that people are like, oh, watch, if we lose in the playoffs, like it's because this set the wrong idea. It's like, what? Last year we played A.J. Brown in a meaningless game and he sprained his MCL. Then we went and got destroyed by the Giants. We were already getting destroyed by that point. It was bad. And then we got destroyed by Tampa Bay in the playoffs. So yeah, I don't think it's bad vibes. It's just like if you start Saquon, you got to start everyone else. And that's the whole thing. So I get it. But it burns. But on the other hand, I guess my summit is I'm excited to see lots of players. Jahan Dotson should 100% play. Like, I think he should play, get some wide receiver 1 reps. Johnny Wilson is going to get a lot of touches. I'm curious if Grant Calcaterra is going to play. I'm going to guess no. Because he is Goddard's direct backup, and Goddard has been in and out of the lineup all year. So I don't think he'll play. But lots of guys.
Uzama?
Yeah, he actually just got taken off injured reserve. So Uzama will probably play, but defense is really where it's at. Guys like Milton Williams are going to get a lot more reps, if he even does, because he's kind of in the main rotation, but he may or may not. Bryce Huff should 100% play. He's been, in and out of the lineup, relatively horrible when he does play anyway. So he should play. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. is going to finally get a real crack at things. Keely Ringo, Eli Rick, Sidney Brown, whole bunch of young secondary guys who, especially Ricks and Ringo, this is kind of like this is your showcase. It's like, what are you going to be able to provide for us next year when Slay, maybe declining at the corner position and we might move him back to safety, whatever it may be. I don't think Bradbury is playing this week, but it'd be cool because I haven't seen him in a while. And the last time I seen him, he was getting absolutely torched. But lots of guys who have showcases to put on. I will say this: I fear that if Jeremiah Trotter Jr. plays really good, we won't extend Bond, and we'll just think that we could do it with anybody. But I really want to extend Bond. Shout out to him. Got a Pro Bowl. Oh, sorry, another plummet. Jordan Mailata did not make the Pro Bowl. Highest graded player in football did not make the Pro Bowl. And usually Pro Bowl snubs, they don't really get to under my skin. Like 50% of it is fan vote, which is way too much. Like Jalen Hurts didn't make it, whatever. Other NFC quarterbacks had the numbers. AJ Brown didn't make it. I'm like, I guess, missed some games. Lost me to Jordan Mailata. That's ridiculous. But shout out Beef Jerky, Cam Jurgens, and Jalen Carter. Stepped in for Fletcher Cox, Jason Kelsey, and we haven't missed a beat. So,
yeah,
that's awesome. That's really awesome. What Steelers made it? Cam Hayward made it. Duh.
Watt.
TJ made it. Duh.
Minka.
That's 3 guys on defense.
It
was weird. They gave 4, I think 4 strong safeties, but only 2 free safeties.
Yeah,
that was weird. Yeah, I thought that was pretty weird.
Boswell made it.
Of course he did. He's been the best kicker in the league outside of Aubrey, I'd say.
Those 4. There you go.
That sounds about right. I wish there was like a most improved bowl. Dan Moore would be there for sure. But nonetheless, let's get into some college football. On every single episode, you will see me wearing some kind of hat, whether it's a snapback, whether it's a dad style hat. I always got to have something to complete the outfit. And the only place where I get my hats is lids.com. Lids.com has so many different brands, and of course they have a bunch of different styles. Like I just said, it could be dad hat, snapback, it could be fitted, it could be Velcro back. Whatever you want, they got it. And with the NFL season coming up, I know you're going to want to rock and represent your favorite squad. Me personally, I'm a big Eagles guy, and I love this 47 brand throwback hat that I got from lids.com. Or if you're more of a snapback guy, I also got this NBA champions Boston Celtics new era cap from lids.com as well. If you like either of those hats and you feel like you want one to represent your squad, click the link in the description below. Whether it's new era or 47, both links will take you right to lids.com. And the best thing about Lids, they always have some type of deal going on their website. So make sure you click that link and check out any deals they got going on at lids.com. So round 2 kicked off a couple nights ago. And it was with Penn State and Boise State in the Fiesta Bowl, which me and Danny watched together. I had to do a little bit of rewatching, but we did do that. Yes, but Penn State got a big win. They're moving on to the Final Four of the college football playoff. Danny, I kind of wanted to start with Boise State, kind of wanted to start with J&T. There's mixed feelings about this game. There's some people being like, oh, well, if you simply watch the box score, it's like, oh, he wasn't great. But if you watch it, it's kind of like, dude, he was getting hit 5 yards in the backfield, and he's still getting 3-yard gains. Like, he was doing really what he could with 7 to 8 man boxes against him. I was wondering how you felt about his performance.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I felt like it's pretty simple. He played great. You're getting 9 men boxes, 9 men of pressure, and you're still getting 100 yards. If you were in the NFL and 9 people were going to tackle Derrick Henry, there's no shot in hell that Derrick Henry would get 100 yards. That's just how the NFL works. So the fact that he's playing a Big Ten defense and he had 100 yards shows the NFL bounds, shows he's legit, shows every penny and every dollar he's going to earn in the next year is going to be worth it. So that's how I feel.
Yeah, I agree. And, the big talk all year is like, oh, he's a Mountain West merchant. I'm like, first of all, that makes no sense. He's on a Mountain West team with a Mountain West line and a Mountain West quarterback, being generous on that one. Yeah, because Madsen was like, he strikes zero fear into the Penn State secondary. First of all, you said, this Big Ten defense, screw Big Ten. Like, Penn State's one of the best defenses in the country. Abdul Carter is going to be a top 5 pick. He's absolutely, he got injured during this game, and he still just absolutely wrecked the game. Like, it's literally glimpses. Like, number 11 in that navy blue uniform. If I woke up from a coma, I've been in a coma since 2020, and I just saw this guy. I'm like, yeah, it's like Micah Parsons. I'm like, why is he still in school? But that's my kind of thing with JT. I mean, like, yeah, the numbers weren't impressive. I do want to knock him for one thing, though. One thing that can be his fault: put the ball on the deck twice. Put the ball on the floor twice. That's not good.
Early on, though.
Luckily, you only lost one of them. But yeah, after he was done giving the ball up, played a phenomenal game, I thought. I mean, just like absolutely, like, his broken tackles this game could, like, legit. I don't know if they have a single game high, but it's up there. Like, he was an absolute beast. And then on the Penn State side of things, I mean, Aller and company came out absolutely cooking, looking like this is about to be a complete blowout. And then you get away from Katron Allen and Nick Singleton, which is very weird about Penn State. And I think that's something that could really come back to bite them. A super talented team with just no identity. And they refuse to lean on Singleton and Allen. And more so, they try to rely on Drew Aller's arm, which is, like, fine. And they want to rely on Tyler Warren through the air, which is also very fine. He's probably the best player on the team. But you have 2 NFL running backs in your backfield. That's how I personally feel about it. What did you think about Penn State's offense? Because we obviously just gloated about their defense. What were you thinking about their offense in this game? And what in this game do they need to keep doing or avoid heading into their matchup with Notre Dame?
Well, I'll tell you is this. Notre Dame doesn't strike fear in anyone. They just barely beat a Georgia team without their quarterback.
And more on that game later, too, as it just wrapped up.
Just wrapped up. They barely won. But
23-10
does not tell the score.
Yeah. We'll get to that later, though. But go ahead about the Notre Dame thing.
Georgia's defense is probably comparable to Penn State, I would say. They both have all world talent on it. So give them that. Riley Leonard is going to have to step up big time, because if Penn State gets a few turnovers, I call it game. Penn State, Aller's been efficient. Aller has been not turning the ball over. He's been dishing the ball out, and Penn State's been taking their points. So they look like a complete team probably for the first time in years. Like, it's kind of ironic that they look complete when a 12-team playoff, but so be it.
Look, man, James Franklin, all he had to do was get in. He can win the big games. They just have to be do or die games. But yeah, the thing I wanted to note about Singleton and Allen, though, because, like, you look at the box score here. We have 134 yards for Allen, 87 yards for Singleton. But the combined, them two combined didn't even crack 30 carries. In my mind, that's just inexcusable. I'm not saying they both need 20. Maybe they do. I think combined, though, we should be talking about 35 carries a game, though. Maybe like 20 for Allen, 15 for Singleton, something like that. But, I mean, Aller has been playing. He's been having these sparks of the potential that everyone talks about. And he's not turning the ball over. And he's, leading scoring drives. So now it has everyone talking about, yeah, after this playoff run, dude, screw that decision. Go to the NFL. And maybe in a weaker quarterback class, a team could justify taking him ahead of Sanders and Ward because he's younger and because he probably has higher upside than the two of them. I don't know if he has higher athletic upside than Ward personally. The arm strength, definitely comparable. Aller does have, while not the greatest athlete, good escapability, can extend plays. I don't know. I like to see. I would still like to see another year. I don't even think we've witnessed Aller's best ball this season. Now, the teams, if he beats Notre Dame, he's probably going to play Ohio State. And look, 2 tough defenses. Don't get it wrong, but I feel like we can see his best without seeing the gaudy numbers, and I'm super excited. This is the best I felt about him his entire time at Penn State. Backs are cooking. Tyler Warren, absolute beast. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
And yeah, Julian Fleming, another great day of cardio. We can move on to the. Let's move on to the Wednesday games. We have, I mean, an absolute classic, I would say. Texas, Arizona State. Texas was up as much as 16 in the fourth quarter, and then Cam Scatabo just puts the entire team on his back and drags them to overtime. Thoughts on that game? Thoughts on Arizona State, Texas going forward?
Yeah, I think Texas is the clearly better team. They came out, we saw who was the better team. Texas looked defeated. Like they looked flat out defeated after the first quarter. They came out awesome, which against Ohio State, you can't play an incomplete football game. You play an incomplete football game, you lose.
Especially with the way they move in now, for sure.
So Penn State, last time I played Ohio State, 10-0 out the gates. They lost.
Yeah.
Ohio State will punish you for making mistakes and not putting the foot on the pedal. They have to do that.
Yeah.
But to recap round 2, Texas, like you said, it was a classic. Scatterbo, this guy's NFL bound. It's like Danny Woodhead on steroids.
He's a monster. Like he is absolutely ridiculous. And because his quarterback is a lot better than Madsen, you know, he doesn't get the carries that JT does, and they don't need to rely on, you know, Arizona State doesn't need to rely on him as much as Boise relies on JT. But like when he said he's the best back in the country, I prefer JT, but this kid's not crazy, you know. His contact balance is crazy. His conditioning is elite. He can run routes out of the backfield. You could argue his biggest play of the game was that wheel route where he purposely leans in, creates the legal separation, makes the big catch downfield. Probably his second biggest play of the game. The other one, he made it throwing the ball. So, yeah, I absolutely agree. And great point on Texas because and I think the overtime kind of benefit them a little bit. Now, I'm not saying change the college football overtime rules. People like them for a long time. Let's keep with it. But the fact that Texas could score and then immediately get the ball back while this defense has no time to adjust takes the top off right again. So they look dead in the water until that fourth down play. But you know, I still got to give them credit. They already missed 2 field goals. They're 4th and long against this Arizona State team that has seemingly shut them down for the entire second half. I have to give Texas credit for fighting back. I got to give Quinn Ewers, you know, I got to give him that respect for fighting back. But for the good second, third, fourth quarter, I'm really like, wow, like you're lucky that you guys have the lead and your coach can't justify pulling you out of the game right now. And even on paper, it's, you know, Quinn, because of what he did in overtime, you know, I would say he had the better game than Levitt, but I was respecting Levitt's performance way more up until Texas got the ball in overtime. I thought Levitt did a great job extending plays. He obviously in overtime he made the big 3rd and long run to keep things alive. To then they give it to Scatabo, who he punched it in the end zone for his squad. Debatably should have gone for 2, but that's, you know, that's a whole hindsight thing or whatever. But absolutely agree. And then we can move on to who Texas is going to be playing. Ohio State. They beat the dog crap out of Oregon. I mean, shocking. Are we shocked, or did we maybe see the keys to the unlocking of what Ohio State could be against Tennessee, and that we expected this? Like, what are your thoughts? I mean, Jeremiah Smith, absolute beast. What are we thinking about that one? Could you have envisioned this version of Ohio State just going into this game? Not like, you know, before the season or at some point during the season, heading into this game, did you see this outcome coming at all?
I didn't see a blowout. You know what I actually said though? I actually said before the game, I said the opposite. I said if Oregon wins, Oregon's gonna blow out, and I said if Ohio State wins, it's gonna be a close game. Which the entire opposite happened. Ohio State just came out and blew them out of the gates. So
yeah,
it's honestly though, you take away the first 10 minutes of the game, it was close. After the first 10 minutes of the game, it was kind of close.
What Mike could say, if you take away the scoreboard,
yeah,
the game was close.
The first 10 minutes of the game put them in a very unforgiving spot. So they came out flat. Whenever you played football, you came out flat before. You played basketball, you probably came out flat before. It happens. It happens to good teams. So I don't think this takes away anything about them. I think it's just the reality of coming out flat.
Yeah, and Lanning said it perfectly. It was like Lanning said it perfectly. He was like, today wasn't our day. Like Oregon can vouch. Like Michigan's not a better team. That like what he said verbatim was like, oh, Ohio State, they felt that like it wasn't their day against Michigan. But like what he truly meant to say was just like they know how it feels to just come out flat, not be yourselves. Now, what Ohio State, the difference between them like, from this game and the first time they played Oregon was they were a lot more aggressive. Taking deep shots, getting creative in the playbook. I got to give Chip Kelly all the credit in the world for that. And Will Howard is this can be a future backup quarterback in the NFL. If he can manage this level of aggression, maybe even like a low end starter. I don't see him as like an average starter or anything, but when he can trust his arm, trust the guys that he's throwing to, it's a hard team to stop, regardless who's at quarterback, which is what kind of pulled him down last year because McCord wasn't as aggressive as he was this year. But again, they a lot more aggressive on offense is kind of what won them this game in comparison to last time. And defensively, Oregon is a lot of RPO, no drop, if any, one-step drop stuff. And they were like, yeah, no, we're just going to like get in Gabriel's face so that he can't get to that first read because we also have like one of the best secondaries in the country. We got Caleb Downs back there. So they were able to get him off his first read, turn him into a playmaker, which Gabriel is not. Just plain and simple, he looked horrible under pressure, not a good extender. Arm isn't great, was very inaccurate. Box score is fine. You know who else's box scores were fine when they were at Oregon? Bo Nix. It's just what the offense can do for a guy. Now, Bo Nix has had a more than respectable rookie season. Not to like kill him. I think he looks a lot better than Gabriel. Don't get me wrong. But Ohio State had the juice. They had the correct game plan to attack this Oregon offense. So very impressed by them. I guess we can give a prediction right now. I think Ohio State's going to the national championship.
I agree.
I think they're going to beat Texas. Now, I guess this is another prediction because, I'm going to talk about Arch Manning whenever I can. What will it take to get Arch in this next game? Will it be complete blowout, or do you think they'll pull him in for comeback time?
Quinn looked really good in overtime.
In overtime, fair.
He looked really good in overtime. He had a bad second and third quarter, but coming down the stretch, he got his team in field goal position. Twice.
That is true. And you got to give him his flowers. How bad would he have to be in like the first half for them to pull like a Jalen Hurts Tua like right then and there?
They're going to be losing by 3 touchdowns probably if that happens. So.
Yeah, most likely. If Quinn's not on par, then Ohio State's going to tear him to shreds. Nonetheless, on the other side of the bracket, just to finish off this recap, Notre Dame, Georgia. You kind of touched on it a little bit. 23-10 was now me personally. I'm a little bit higher on Notre Dame than Danny is, and we kind of talked about this before. Notre Dame, while you cannot ignore the lows that they're capable of losing to NIU at home, I just think since then those lows haven't popped up as much. And if they have, they're against solid teams. But they play this Georgia team. It's without Carson Beck, but I'm going to be entirely honest. I don't know how much he really changes this football game anyway. His lack of aggression this year has been very evident. So, and what really got Notre Dame going in this game was the very end of the second half. They kick the field goal, they get the turnover, and they get the touchdown. It's 10 points in like 10 seconds. So that kind of just flipped everything. It put them up, I believe, 13-3, if I'm not mistaken, or 10-3.
13-3.
13-3. And then from there, all you had to do was essentially play keep away, which they're good at. They can run the ball. Their quarterback is an athlete. He can run the ball as well, which is going to be that's something that Penn State is going to have to.
Quarterback's a phenomenal athlete. That's about all he is. He's an athlete.
Yeah, he's a great athlete. I think Penn State should truly disrespect the way he throws the football.
Yeah, as I said, that's all he is. He's an athlete.
Yeah. But I have to give credit to their defense, even if that's still a Division I quarterback out there, and they did a phenomenal job just holding that Georgia offense to just 10 points. Do you have anything you say you wanted to, did you want to add anything about that game, about Georgia?
It doesn't say much about Georgia to me. Like, this is the equivalent of putting Florida State last year in the playoffs.
You think so?
Yeah.
I think Georgia's defense, I think they're, like, if you have FSU's defense back there last year, again, they had a really good defense, not to get anything twisted, but Georgia's defense is always usually just a little bit different than the rest of the country.
I don't know, dude. FSU's defense was...
Well, let's see. If FSU, if you give them the 4 spot, they would have had to play, who got one last year? Yeah, this could be something similar, but I think Michigan's offense will probably put up a little bit more because I think their offense is a little bit better. It is not a little; it's way better than this Notre Dame offense, and then FSU's defense is.
They run the same kind of offense, though. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, McCarthy, last year
power run.
I mean, I think Michigan's offense was a little underrated last year. Like just look at all the NFL. Blake Corum, NFL guy. JJ McCarthy, NFL guy. Roman Wilson, finally NFL guys. He's off IR for the Steelers. I will be watching.
Will he get snaps? I don't know.
He should. He really should. I really think he could change the offense if he's in game shape, which may take a bit. But
he has 2 weeks to get ready.
I digress.
Come on, man.
I digress.
Ready.
Game predictions: Penn State, Notre Dame.
Penn State's going to the national championship. They win by 7 points.
I like that. Give me Penn State by possession as well. I'm going to go like 27-21, 27-20, 27-21. That's what I like.
I think Penn State has all the keys in Aller, in Singleton, in their run game to beat Notre Dame. They just have everything. They more the juice than Georgia had today.
Yeah, and this is another lower-seeded team that they'll be playing, so that plays into James Franklin's favor, of course.
Man, their entire thing would be lower-seeded unless they play Texas in the national championship.
And now, last thing before we head into this NFL Week 18 preview, all 4 teams are 5 seed and lower. Texas is 5, Penn State 6, Notre Dame 7. Excuse me, Ohio State at 8. Now, this proves one thing to me that we've been preaching the whole time. Regular season is not as important. And what it does now is it gives these good teams who didn't have the best regular seasons grace. 2-loss Penn State, 2-loss Ohio State, 2-loss Texas, 1-loss Notre Dame. Besides Notre Dame, that their loss is just dumb. The other 3 teams lost the 2 biggest games of the year. Texas lost twice to Georgia. One was the SEC champion, the championship. Penn State lost to Ohio State and Oregon. Lost to Oregon in the Big Ten championship. Ohio State is a 2-loss non-championship attending team. They lost to Oregon, which is a fine loss, but then they lose to Michigan, and it doesn't even matter. When has the game never mattered? Now it doesn't matter because all these teams get in anyway, and they just prove the whole world wrong. And this is why Alabama, prior to absolutely smoking it against a bad Michigan team, was upset. They were like, look, I know we had a horrible regular season, but if you let us in, I swear. Now they need to have a better season to get in. Don't get me wrong. But these teams that have 2 losses that get into the playoff, you messed up. You messed up giving them more life. And you messed up by making the regular season just not have as many stakes as it once did. One loss had you on the brink of elimination in the college football playoff, even as a powerhouse. 2 losses was a death sentence. Like, for sure. And now you have, you know, the actual 4 best teams in the country. It just, time always tells. Time always tells who the best teams in the country are. And I truly feel like on paper, these are probably your 4 best rosters. I think maybe you could argue Dame or Georgia, Notre Dame and Georgia. I'd probably lean Georgia with a healthy Carson Beck, but coin toss. I mean, Notre Dame, such a well coached team, great defense, leader of men at quarterback. That's just how I feel. And then Oregon, they're going to trick you all every year. But
I think Texas A&M got a better roster though.
Texas A&M going to bring in the guys. They just not ever going to have the coaching to get it done. Like, dude, it's just never going to happen. But
they were awesome this year.
They were. Couple losses, couple things don't go your way. Like, let's say you open the season with the home win against Notre Dame. Notre Dame's probably not here as a 2-loss nothing team. Well, they'll probably still find their way in, maybe like 11th seed. But your whole season is different, and things happen.
I don't know, dude. But they might give the nod to South Carolina over that.
Maybe. Let's say South Carolina beats Alabama. Alabama has 4 losses, and they can cry about whatever. South Carolina sitting at 2 losses. They're absolutely in because they were from like week 6 on. I think they could have beat any team in the country. Their defense was so unbelievably physical. And they were putting up points on anybody. They were giving everybody hell. Awesome. It was crazy.
Norris Sellers is awesome.
Exactly, man. So, but we both have a Ohio State Penn State national championship, which I believe will be the first time since 2017 that 2 teams from the same conference played each other while neither of them actually won their conference championship. That was back Georgia versus Alabama. Auburn was the SEC champion that year. Pretty crazy. And they let both Georgia and Alabama in the playoff. If that happened today, I think someone's house will be set on fire. So there's that. Let's move on to some pro ball though. We got the week 18. What we're going to do is we're going to look at all the games with playoff implications, and we're going to predict who wins. We're obviously going to talk about said implications as well. Let's start in the AFC West. So the Chargers play the Raiders. The Chargers, while in the playoffs, they're still fighting for some seeding. If they win and the Steelers lose, they could move up to the 5 seed, which would grant them a game with Houston, which I think the Chargers and Steelers would much rather see than having to go to Baltimore. Do you first off, do you think like most teams, like if there's hypothetical seeding involved where it's like, oh, if we win, like we're in the playoffs for sure. And if, we win and some said team loses, like basically what I'm asking, do you think the Chargers are going to give this game their all?
I mean, we'll find out. Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's start on Saturday. The Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
They start up top. Baltimore Ravens play 4:30 on Saturday against the Cleveland Browns. With a win, they clinch the division. With a loss, it opens the door for a Sunday night game where the Pittsburgh Steelers take on the Bengals. The Pittsburgh Steelers, with a win, if the Ravens were to lose, are division champions. With a loss, the Bengals are still alive and need the Dolphins to lose and the Broncos to lose to win, sneak in that 7 seed.
So, okay. So I guess actually, yeah, let's go in chronological order because that would actually help us be able to build out our said playoff. So Browns Ravens are 20-point favorites, or I thought they were 18.5 last time I saw. But Ravens Browns are starting Bailey Zappi. This is looking like an all-time tank job.
But that would be hilarious if Zappi comes in and wins.
Yeah, that would be pretty crazy. But I'm going to go with the Ravens in this one, which leads us to Bengals Steelers. The Steelers should still be playing for that 5 seed because you'd much rather be playing Houston.
Nah, I agree. Houston did go us the works last year, though, I will say.
They did, but that's a completely different team with a healthy Tank Dell, a Bobby Slowick who a fifth grader couldn't dissect his offense, and C.J. Stroud, rookie aura.
Yeah.
Well, I think Pittsburgh could still have a hard time moving against the Houston defense. I think the Steelers defense will have no time picking them apart. I mean,
We'd much rather play them than play the Ravens. I agree.
Yeah. Worst run game in the league meets one of the best rushing defenses in the league. Yeah.
Which I did see something. If Pittsburgh were to lose and be on the road in Baltimore, they'd open as 6.5-point underdogs in Baltimore, which is a bit high to me.
I could see it being a little high. I think Baltimore maybe at like you give them the 3 for a home field and then maybe 1.5 points. I think that's a little more respectable. So what we have now, do we have the Steelers beating Cincinnati, or Cincinnati winning and they're all prayers, putting it in God's hands on Sunday?
Mike Tomlin likes to put his foot on an opponent's throat, as he might say. He doesn't like to play with his meat, so I think he knocked his division rival out of the playoffs.
I'm gonna be a little bit more fun than Danny. I'm gonna say the Bengals just so we can keep going down each hypothetical trajectory. Yeah, keep going down the rabbit hole. So we both have the Ravens winning, so the Ravens will lock up this division. Danny says the Steelers are winning and putting the Bengals out of their misery. I say the Bengals are winning and keeping this dream alive until the next day. Let's start with the... Sorry, I'm on the Real app, and for some reason the Chiefs were one of my favorited teams. I'm like, dude, get this out of here. Let's go. The Eagles have no playoff implications against the Giants. The Falcons, though, the Falcons play at the same time as the Bucks. They need the Bucks to lose to the Saints. The Falcons are going to be probably playing their starters the entire time, like no questions asked.
And with a loss, they can't win. So
yeah, so I'm going to pick them to beat the Panthers.
Yeah, probably.
But it's going to be overall worthless as Tampa Bay is 2 touchdown favorites against the Saints at home. No more Marcus Lattimore to throw. Mr. Evans off his game as Mr. Evans is going for 1K. You know that's the most unstoppable man on the planet when he has 1K in his sights. So I think the Bucks would lock up that 4th home playoff spot. And I think the Falcons will be eliminated with a win, though, and hopefully, a promising Michael Penix game.
Something to build on for next year. I agree.
Moving on to the 6 and 7 seeds. Commanders play the Cowboys on the road. Bears play the Packers on the road.
A win moves Commanders guaranteed into the 6th seed.
Yeah, and then the Packers would need them to lose and them to win. I mean, we could be looking at a 12-win 7th seed. Beautiful. This is what was imagined when we got that 7th seed involved. And either of these teams would probably be the most dangerous 7th seed ever.
You know what we didn't imagine, though? We really did not imagine, like, a potential 10-win 8th seed. We
didn't do that. We did not do that. That's crazy. Yeah, the Seahawks. That's crazy. This has been a good look. The NFC is loaded. As weird as it looked in the middle of the year, it's an absolute beast.
Hey, the AFC's loaded too.
Oh, absolutely, dude. Football is a talent. We're in our prime. We're in our prime, man. We're in a wide receiver golden age. We're in a quarterback golden age. Running backs have been revived simultaneously. Like, coordinators have never meant more. Dude, it's beast. But do the Commanders get revenge on the Cowboys?
Yeah, I think they can get it done. Dallas.
I guess depending on some scoreboard watching, maybe the Packers will pull some starters against Chicago.
Yeah, they haven't looked good at all.
Yeah, and especially the last the Bears haven't, but the Packers, especially the last 2 games, it's taken Jordan Love a little bit to get his engine revved up.
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
It is weird, especially the Vikings game. Like, if you just showed up like a quarter earlier, you could win this game. Like, you brought it within, striking distance, which you did the first game against them. But I think the Packers are going to have it over most likely before it's pulling starter time anyway. I do have the Commanders and the Packers winning. So we'll have a 12-seeded, 7th seed heading into Philadelphia. That's crazy. Moving on, Jaguars, Colts. Only thing they're fighting for is pride and the potential number 1 seed. Bills, I'm pretty sure are locked in that 2 seed, right?
They are correct.
They
They're
are locked into
that.
that 2 seed. We should be seeing Mitch Trubisky versus
Drake May.
maybe not even Drake. Drake May might
Drake
not.
May's playing.
He's going to play. I know he was limited in practice. I would really like to see some Milton, but hey, you got to get your reps where you can. We already talked Bucks Saints. Let's move. Texans locked into that 4 seed. Probably not going to play any starters, if I had to guess.
They might get reps in the first half.
Yeah, maybe just not get rusty. Maybe see one go in against a Titans team, but yeah, they're definitely not staying for long. The Titans are probably going to be locked into that 2 seed or the second pick of the draft. Really curious to see what they'll do. Niners, Cardinals. That's for all the pride in the world, baby.
Fun bowl.
Yep, go out there, have fun bowl. The Niners. I don't know who they're starting. I know Purdy's not going to play. I hope they go with Dobbs though, because Dobbs, if Juwan Jennings has any contract incentives on the line, I want Dobbs out there for him. That's what I'd want. This is another game. We're finally on a game that has some playoff implications. Chiefs, Broncos, but the Chiefs will be starting their backups. So the Bengals have been waiting and waiting to see what
Carson Wentz gets it done.
You think it's Carson Wentz in the backups. It's not like Carson Wentz is throwing to like DeAndre Hopkins.
Man, Carson Wentz getting it done.
You think the Chiefs backups could play spoiler to Denver?
Yeah, Diop might play.
Okay. I'm gonna pick the Broncos because they're still like a low-end playoff team. I think they can handle some Chiefs backups. But we'll keep that thought in mind on your end, even though I guess me picking the Broncos kind of ends my thoughts on the Bengals making the playoffs. Rams, Seahawks. The Rams, if they lose and the Bucks win, the Rams would get the 4 seed. But it is said they're sitting players, so I don't think they really care whether they play Detroit, Minnesota, whoever loses next week's game.
Man, you know who it affects? It affects the Eagles. Because look, if the Bucks get the 3 seed, the Eagles will see the Bucks in Philly if the Bucks win in the first round,
which I think is fine. Our defense isn't what it was when we last seen them the last couple times. Thank God. It'll be a good one though. It'll be a battle. It's like those early 2000s, baby.
Man, if I'm the Rams, I'm trying to go and win this game though, dude.
Jimmy G's already starting, dude. They're not winning.
I know. I do not want to see the Vikings or the Lions in the round.
Or the Lions, that sucks. But I mean,
I know you don't play football you don't avoid matchups, but
yeah, no, you don't play with the football gods. But Matthew Stafford already went back to Detroit. Jared Goff got to come back to LA. I'd like to see it. You know what else? You know what else we saw around this time last year when that matchup happened? The birth of the low taper fade meme. It was massive. Still is massive.
Vex Bolt's mass unfollowing.
Yes, we all unfollowed Vex Bolts.
I did never follow them.
Raiders, Chargers. I think the Chargers are going to try to win this. Well, we have the Steelers already winning, so I guess they'll probably set some starters. Do the Raiders want to make their draft positioning even worse than it is now? I'm not exactly sure. Tank Bowl will be in effect.
Antonio Pierce will be the defense coordinator of a different team next year, so that's all right.
He's going to be your defensive coordinator.
Probably. Good.
So, I mean, that one's a toss-up. It's going to have no implications by that point. Dolphins, with a win and a Broncos loss, they're in. They're that middle team. Yep. So they'll probably be doing some scoreboard watching, but I think they're going to want to probably play all the way to the end. I have the Dolphins winning anyway. So the Bengals kind of are super long shot. But last game and biggest game.
It's a playoff game.
Basically,
for the 1 seed.
This is for the one and only home field throughout by the lone bye in the NFC. Vikings make their way to Detroit to play the Lions. Detroit, they're 3-point favorites. They got home field advantage, and that's it. I'm taking the Vikings. I'm so in love with this team right now. Jordan Addison has really come along strong. Justin Jefferson had the equivalent to a Kevin Durant game. Like, I felt like he wasn't involved at all. You blink, he has 9 catches for 97 yards. That's like Kevin Durant. He's ridiculous. TJ Hawkinson, I think, thought had one of his best games last week. They were drawing him up open in the intermediate middle part of the fields.
Coach of the year, Kevin O'Connell.
It has to be. I want to give it to Jim Harbaugh so bad. It is. This team has 14 goddamn wins with Sam Darnold, the quarterback. Don't get me wrong. I'm all in on Sam Darnold. He's been awesome this year, and he's really heated up in December. But this team was slated to win 6 games. And they're about to, if I'm correct, they're going to win 15 games and get the 1 seed in the NFC that features the Eagles, arguably the most talented roster in football, and the Lions, who are like the NFC favorites heading into the year. I absolutely agree, dude. Kevin O'Connell, dude, you'd have to take that out of like his cold, dead hands or something.
Yeah,
the trophy's at his house regardless of the outcome of this game.
It's pretty nuts.
He's a beast, man. And I think they do have a court. Like, I don't think it's a official award, but if they did, coordinator of the year would have, keep it in house. You know where that's going. Or you could go give it to Jesse Minter in LA. But Flores, Minter, both beast. Minter got Khalil Mack back into the Pro Bowl. I don't know. Well, who are you taking?
For what?
Vikings Lions.
Oh, for that game. I thought you meant for coordinator of the year.
Oh, no. Well, it would be Vic Fangio, but
I was about to say Vic.
Nah, he's too much talent. He's too much talent on that team. Those dudes just need to get it together.
No. But reality, I'm taking the Lions.
Nah, all right. Well, at least this is a good game to disagree on, so that we have a head on both sides.
I'm going to support our podcast bros.
Yeah, Chris, I'm sure would pick the Vikings. As if there's anyone who likes Justin Jefferson as much as me, it's him. But man, this is going to be probably the best regular season finale since that Niners Seahawks game where the Niners stopped them at the 1 yard line. Yeah, that was a banger. But nonetheless, let's get up on out of here and hit these hots and locks. Chris went with the Panthers upsetting the Falcons and then Miami locking down the Jets. So he would have the Buccaneers getting in the playoffs and maybe the Dolphins getting in the playoffs, however he feels about the Chiefs-Broncos game. But Danny, I'll let you get the first crack at things.
Yeah, give me the lock of the week. It's going to be the Buffalo Bills beating the Patriots. The Patriots are playing for the number 1 overall pick, meaning they want to lose.
Yeah, they're one could say they're hunters for the first pick.
And they're only 2-point underdogs. You know what that means? The Bills are a free bet, even with Mitch Trubisky. They have nothing to play for. Like, Gerard Mayo will be fired if they win.
Ben Johnson, welcome to New England, my friend.
If they win and they mess up the draft position, he will be fired.
He's going to get Lovie Smith. Oh, my God.
He deserves it. Like,
yeah, no, for sure. I mean, depending how things shake up, he could still be like second, third pick, but like, you better hope that first pick is like Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward, because if you miss out on Travis Hunter, you're getting fired.
So take those Buffalo Bills.
What's even a hot look like this week?
That hot of the week, Tennessee Titans.
Okay, so the Titans are also messing up their draft stock.
Yeah, but they seem like a team that doesn't care.
Yeah, with the guys they have, I definitely get that. Okay, so for me, I think I'm going to roll. I'm going to lock the Ravens. I think that's pretty simple. They're nearly 3 touchdown favorites.
Bro, they're minus 3,000.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. And then you know what? For a hot, I'm going to go towards like a meaningless game. Actually, no, I won't. I already said the Broncos would beat the Chiefs, but it'd be
Bailey Zapp
so
over
cool
200 passing yards, though.
We might need that. Force feed Judy.
Yeah, facts.
I'm going to take the Jaguars to beat the Colts. Why not? Brian Thomas Jr. goes out with a bang, quickly becoming one of the most highly touted receivers in the NFL.
$10 on this parlay pays out 735. So,
Jeez Louise, man. All right. Well, just to go over the hots and locks one more time before we get on out of here. Our hot takes: I have the Jaguars over the Colts. Danny is the Titans over the Texans. Excuse me. And then Chris has the Panthers over the Bucks. While our locks, Chris is locking Miami over the Jets. Danny has the Buffalo Bills over the New England Patriots. I have the Ravens over the Browns. And of course, as always, thank you guys for tuning in. If you're watching this on YouTube, remember, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those post notifications so you don't miss a single upload. And if you're watching this on or listening to this on audio platforms, do all the things that's going to push the algorithm. Like, follow, share with a friend, leave a comment if you can, 5-star review, all the good stuff. Danny, anything to say before we get on out of here?
here we go.
Oh, you got a crucial catch. Oh, you told me about that. You told me about that at the game.
Yeah, they gave him out at the game. Cowboys game.
Man. From AP New Freezer and DC Comics. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys on Monday.